The views and opinions expressed on Barbershop Micz Podcast does not reflect the views of Charm City Direct TV Network. Some language, videos, and content may not be suitable for young viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. What's good? What's good? What's really good, good people? It is I, the man that you all know and love, E. Digger. Surprised to see my face. This is Barbershop Micz Podcast right here on Charm City Direct TV. Make sure you are tuned in because we got some stuff to talk about today. I am holding down the fort, so to speak, waiting for people to come in to show up. First and foremost, I want to say, shout out to everybody who is tuned in, who is watching, who is about to tune in. And shout out to this day. If you don't know what this day is, this is Dr. Martin Luther King's day. I'm not sure if it's his birthday. That's where I'm confused. If it's his birthday or Dr. Martin Luther King's day that they set aside for Dr. King. A lot of government agencies are now off work. This is, and let me understand, let me help you to better help you out, good people. This is not a day to, relax, and this is not a day to, it's a day of celebration, but it's not a day to take off of work or anything like that. This is a day of remembrance. This is a day of Thanksgiving. And the importance that Dr. King brought to the world. So I just want to let that be known. First and foremost, Dr. King for our civil rights on the front line in a nonviolent manner. That's the thing. And we celebrate this day in honor of Dr. King. So if you are with your family during this time, sit down and, research, do some research on Dr. King and what he stood for. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on the Barbershop Micz Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting on Barbershop Micz Podcast. Like I said, good people, make sure you are in the know. And you can tune in right now, get your friends, share this broadcast, do what you got to do, and come on in and let's talk. Let's talk about this. So I'm going to bring in bro Mike. He is the host, and we're going to get this thing started. What's
Hey,
good with you, friend?
what's going on, man? All right.
Not much. Turn your phone sideways to fill out if you can.
Right. Yes.
So, Mike, we was just talking a little bit about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This is the day that we celebrate the achievements in honor of Dr. King. What are your best memories of Dr. King, man? Like in school, what we was taught, what we've seen on TV. What was your best memories of Dr. King?
Well, his my best memories about him was when he led the civil rights movement. I thought that he was very noble and stuff like that, though, with that.
Right.
And he led the way. It was a lot of people, different races and nationalities on a board, and he wanted that justice, for all of us.
Right.
Because we've been pushed back 400 years and everything like that. So when it's like a thing to where it's like when he was assassinated in 1968, it was pretty devastating and stuff like that, because we lost a potential role model and a leader, and also a legacy.
Right.
You understand? So with that being said, man, I mean, we have something of a remembrance from him. So my best memories about him is when he led the civil rights movement, through the ups and the downs and the disgraceful moments that we've had as Black people, being having dogs attack us,
Right.
and being water hosed and stuff like that, like animals and
Right.
everything. He really really got that charge up and running and stuff like that, though. And I want to always forever say my condolences to the King family, though, and the rest in peace to him, because he's gonna be our leader forever.
Right.
He's immortal right
Right.
now, but he's gonna be our leader forever. So that's my best take on that and the whole deal.
Right. Right. Um, I said the same thing. Now, I was not born, believe it or not, Mike, when Dr. King was assassinated. My sister was.
Okay.
And I can only, recall that moment from watching TV
Right.
when he was assassinated. And, during that time, and I was little when I was growing up, and, I'm learning about this in school. Yeah, I was scared,
Right.
and my heart as a young child, my heart went out to him, and his family, like, how they gonna kill him, and
Right.
I was scared. But, as and growing up and learning about Dr. Martin Luther King, and I had an opportunity to go to Atlanta
Mm.
and sit in the famous Ebenezer Baptist Church where he passed.
Ah.
And just I man, I had to when I went in, I was so overwhelmed.
Mm.
I had to stop and just they was looking at me like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with E?" I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just overwhelmed that Dr. King preached in this church. And all of us we should really feel honored right now just being in this space
Yeah.
that he served as a pastor of this church. And I man, I tears, I am bawling at this point. And I encourage everybody to one go to the monument in Washington.
Mm.
There's a monument for Dr. King in Washington. Breathtaking,
Mm-hmm.
breathtaking. Go there, check that out. Also, the Eternal Flame that's in Atlanta as well.
Mm.
We visit that where his grave is. It is awesome. It is awesome.
Wow.
So if you have a chance to travel, just make it your business to go to these historic landmarks
Okay.
and check it out because it is breathtaking. It is
Mm.
breathtaking.
Wow.
You just feel the sense of
Mm.
overwhelmed feeling come across you when you go there,
Yeah.
like I had. So
Mm.
it was remarkable,
And,
absolutely remarkable.
and remember his words too. He had a
Right,
lot of words, but he would say, "And I have a dream to yet to get to this promised land." So, it's like a thing to where it's like though that right there. When I would look at the old films, like I was born 1970,
oh, okay,
and and he did this 1968, and it's like the electrifying energy that I seen that felt through the TV screen when he would just make his speech, man, was just awesome, man.
right,
It was just like, yeah, and that's what it is, though, man. I mean,
right,
racism from then to now, let's just say racism then was totally ugly. Families upon generations and generations were teaching their kids how to have hatred towards blacks and everything
right,
like that.
right,
If you look in with the marchers, there's some Caucasian people that are marching along with Dr. Martin Luther King,
right,
and this is how it is. It shouldn't have to be about racism. We should all get along.
right,
When I was a kid, my mom's had me in a Catholic school. I've been there before in the Lutheran. I got a chance to see how it is to mesh with, you know, people of different races and stuff like that, and Caucasian people.
right,
And it's awesome, man. And when you grow up to be able to have that same frame of mind,
right,
it's a beautiful thing.
right,
Hmm.
right. So we taking this moment to you know, remember the life, the memory, the times, uh, the contributions to civil rights and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Um, and and before you came on, Mike, I was just saying, the people, this is not a day, it's a day of celebration, but it's not a day that, some people will, oh, I ain't got to work today.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it like that.
Right.
This is a day that you spend with your family, especially your young ones and your
Yes.
kids, and teach them and let
Yeah.
them know what contributions this man had to go through, he
Oh yeah.
gave, and the sacrifices,
Yeah.
and how he paved the way for other leaders of
Right.
the world, worldly recognized, worldly respected. So my question to you, Mike, is,
Yes.
if he was living today, what would you think he would do? Where do you think he would be?
Well, what I would think is that if he was living today, um, he would definitely want to work on the racial equalities that's going on today. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, in law enforcement in the system,
Right.
I believe that if he was alive today, he would hold some type of weight
Mm.
and whatnot, though, and with the system and everything like that, because the way how law enforcement has been getting away with these murders of our people is horrific,
Right.
and I believe that if he was alive today, along with some newcomers,
Right.
some young brothers and sisters and stuff like that, speaking out, of course, he would be a force to be reckoned with and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I would see some type of leverage change in the way how activities are going on today, the way how um, courts in the systems in the South are, or as I call it, slipping and sliding, letting law enforcement slip and slide through like an easy pass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Type of thing, though. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Right. Right.
Mm.
We're gonna get into the next topic if we can.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about a little bit of Will and Jada, man. What's going on with that, man?
Mm.
That was
Mm.
one of the topics that we wanted to talk about. Um, to me, Will and Jada
Mm.
is they was my hopefuls, so to
Mm.
speak. They was my hopefuls.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that, because in Hollywood, not just black people, everybody, uh marriage is kind of, to me now, I'm no movie star and I've been to Hollywood, never participated in the movie, never been in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on a Hollywood lot. That's as far as Hollywood I got.
Right.
But from seeing it on TV, uh relationships and marriages in Hollywood are really, really short.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing Will and Jada for the length of time that they've been together, they gave me hope,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as opposed to seeing other marriages in Hollywood, superstars, celebrities. But see, now I kind of point the finger at Jada,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna get your opinion in a minute. But
Mm-hmm.
me, Jada, kind of Will, to me, Mike, is
Mm-hmm.
is a wholesome brother.
Right.
That's what I see from
I,
TV.
I I know where you're getting
Okay,
at.
so my thing is this. My thing is this. Uh, Will, to me, exemplifies everything that a father would want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, notice I said would want to be like a I wouldn't say a role model, but he just strikes me as a very stand-up guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever Will does in his past life or behind closed doors, that's him.
Right.
But how he portrayed how it comes to me looking at him, his movies, his music, his books, all of that. He appears to be a stand-up guy. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a facade, maybe it's not. Maybe it's him. Now, honestly, okay, so Jada is from Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Really?
Jada Pinkett is from Baltimore. She went to the Baltimore School for the Arts with Tupac. Them and
Hmm.
Tupac was bosom buddies,
Yes.
dated briefly. You would think that Jada will be in Baltimore more than anything, right?
Right.
Contrary to popular belief, Mike,
Hmm.
Will was here more than Jada. You will see Will in Baltimore more than Jada.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So
Represent.
I'm like this. I'm kind of pointing the finger at Jada. I'm pointing the finger at Jada. And here's why. For the whole uh what was the word that they gave her? The whole help me out, people.
Okay.
Those who watching. Shout out to everybody that's watching.
Sean the Dawn.
Right. What's up, Sean? For everybody for the word, what she had the fling with the dude, the young dude.
Yes, she did though.
And that kind of, rubbed Will the wrong way. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So what are your views, Mike? I want to hear from you, man.
Okay.
What do
Well,
you think?
let's. This is like a scene. This is like an epic thing of Davy versus Goliath, though, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Right.
Well, first of all, Jada is the loose person, you know what I'm saying? And then you see Will, he's more like the softy, Mr. Softy and everything.
Right.
Um, First of all, back when she was dating Tupac and everything like that, you
Mhm.
could tell from what type of man in the jeans that she was really looking for and everything like that.
Right.
Fast forwarding, this guy, he doesn't bite. Will doesn't have a bite in him.
Right.
So therefore, the marriage that they have is in dialogue with, you know, I can do things on the outside and I could do things on the outside too.
Right.
But I just think that personally they need to end this marriage of what they have because it doesn't look too cool. I mean, they have an agreement, mutual agreement that she
Right.
can fat flings and whatever else, and he can too. But certain things are just not cut out for everybody. And Will and Jada, they need to cut ties.
Now, before we go on, we're gonna bring in the other co-host of Barbershop Micz, my girl, Miss Jasmine. What it do,
What's
girl?
going on?
Book, book,
What up?
book, book.
What's
Hello,
going on?
hello, big up, big up, big up. I'm so sorry.
No, you good. You
No,
good.
you
Yeah.
good.
Welcome, welcome.
So,
What's
so,
up?
so,
What's up? What's up in the building?
so Sean
Good to see
said,
you.
Jasmine, we talking about Will and Jada's marriage. One of the
Mhm.
topics, that we talking about. I just spoke, my opinion. Mike, spoke his, but I want to read this comment um that Sean uh put up. He said people looking at Jada as a bad person, but she is truly amazing. Okay. I like Jada. I think she is a beautiful person from what I see on TV. I don't live with them. I can't see in their house. And my stance on celebrities is personally, if you ever watch some of my podcasts and watch some of my shows, I can care less what these celebrities do, honestly. But like I told Mike, Jasmine, before you came on, they gave me hope because, as you know, in Hollywood, marriages. Notice I said marriages. I didn't say black marriages. Marriages in Hollywood don't last long. And Will and Jada been together for a minute. So they gave me hope. There's some couples in Hollywood that give me hope. But when Jada stepped out and it became public, that's when I gave Jada the side eye. Because Will appears to me, can't speak for everybody, can't speak for you, Mike, can't speak for you, Jasmine. He appears to me as a stand-up guy. I don't know what I don't know what Will did off camera.
But you don't listen. You read this new book that just came out?
No,
There are so many shocking confession in there.
Wow, I haven't read the book.
Yeah, because a part in the book, I'm sorry that I don't bring it up. There's a part in the book, right, that he said that he was in love with somebody else.
Right.
Yvette in the building.
Oh.
He was in love with a co-host, an older co-host, right? And there was a lot of things going on under the lock, because he wasn't innocent. And as I came on, I heard Bro Mike was saying that it's about, before they married, it's about what they discuss.
Right.
That's what I get. What they discuss, what they want.
Right.
And I guess that I really see Mr. Ediga, oh, you love your wife or you appreciate your wife. Some people don't know it. They're married because it's a good fit.
Right.
And what goes around, they have a saying in Jamaica, what goes around, come back around. Because all these are in the public, right? Because he were married before.
So Vet said they have an open relationship.
Yeah, they have an open relationship.
Now, I thought, I'm sorry for cutting you off, Jasmine. I thought that was just a rumor.
But they used to deny it. No, they don't have an open relationship. But little by little, it's coming out. So the reason why we all hear about this in the public is because the young man go public with it, because he wants something to gain from it. He has a new album coming out. So if he hit Jada, then more his album will sell.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. So it's not one side to the story. It's coming out finally.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
entanglement. That's the word I was looking for.
I'm gonna have a last long marriage.
I'm sorry, Jasmine. That's the word I was looking for. I'm sorry. Entanglement. I was trying to remember the word. Yeah, entanglement. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah. I'm in a marriage, a long-lasting marriage, and it's all convenient. So each one of them use each one of them, because Will Smith, he has his money. Jada, she has her money, but I mean, two of them will look good together. So it's more, because when I read a part of his book, because I like to read, when I was shocked, because most person look at Will Smith like, okay, is an awesome father, awesome man, but he has a down life going on around.
Mm-hmm.
His new book will shock you, and I think that I see some things going around. This is what he confessed. And why he confessed no is because he wants his book to sell. So it's a convenient thing. This you still have marriage in Hollywood that is okay.
Right.
But there's no way marriage is supposed to be secret and sanctified and holy. I mean, it's not like this. So people look at Jada like, okay, but we need to look at Will, like, okay, why would you do that? Why would you, knowing that your wife is going to sleep with somebody else, or your husband is going to sleep with somebody else, and allow it? No, that is foolish. Yeah. I'm from Jamaica, right? Mm-hmm. So it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Propaganda.
Propaganda.
Right.
That's what that is, though. Because the average man. All right. Here's the thing, y'all. You take a look at LL Cool J and his girlfriend. I mean, his wife, rather.
Okay.
Now, you don't hear anything about them having an entanglement or them allowing their stuff to go out of dirty laundry. You see what I'm saying? Into the airwaves and stuff like that, though. So, I mean.
And so we can even take it further. One of my favorite rapper, Ja Rule, and his wife, they were together from they were teenager.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of of persons that are in Hollywood that don't do these things. Some people think it's a joke. Some people like, okay, it's a joke. You know, I want you when I want you. Mm. But it don't work like that. It's no way it can work. There's no relationship can work like that.
Right. So, Jazz, do you agree that they should stay together?
As I said before, what they do, this is my personal, okay, what they do, they can go ahead and do that. That's fine with me. Go ahead and do that. So it's not for me to say they stay together or not. If it worked for them, fine. Go and do what you do best.
Right. I mean, I guess me said, I honestly, real talk, I could care less.
Neither do I.
Care less.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people.
They're not my role model. I mean, even Mr. Bigger marriage, he's gonna be famous. He's famous, but I mean, he appreciates his wife. So I mean, they're not my role model. I wouldn't want them to be my. Vet says some people stay for convenience.
Yeah.
It's just convenience. Yeah, they have so many things. A lot of marriage, they have so many things that are, it's not gonna be benefit to them. Right. Because I've the position where I'm in, I've counsel people who they have a lot of stuff and like, okay, they don't want to stay in the marriage, but they will not let go because of what they invest. So basically, it's the investment more than the relationship, the intimacy. It's the convenient to them, like, okay,
or they
it's
don't
work for me. So who is me to say, okay, divorce, I don't divorce.
Right. Or they don't want to deal with the headache.
It's cheaper to keep her.
Yeah.
Right. Or I mean, especially in this situation, we talking about. Well, I don't know what Jada do. I mean, I know she act, but I mean, as far as Will status, like that's Mr. Box Office to me. I'm sorry, Now Jada, on the other hand, whatever way she get her money, but the headache of going through that. You see what I'm saying? Is she going to put up that fight? Will he put up that fight?
So basically, they said they will not leave their relationship because, I mean, both of them, because I was watching the Red Table when she were interviewing her husband. They said they invest so much that they are not going to leave. It's like it's a business partnership.
Right.
So that's why she said it's a business partnership. So they don't look at it as a relationship. So anything goes, and I just want to stick it out there, even though Will Smith is a American Love, he's not innocent as well. He's not innocent.
Right.
He's not innocent.
Right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about Will and Jada marriage, and also the topic, how soon should you date after the loss of your spouse? We're going to get into that once we come back. This is Barbershop Micz Podcast. My man, bro Mike, Jasmine just came in, and I am the man that you all know and love, E Digger. Hey, don't turn that dial. We'll be right back. I promise, as soon as I find a commercial. You know how I am. I can never find a commercial. I think I got it. It's down here somewhere. There it goes. Do you need something to watch in the beginning of the week? Well, look no further. Barbershop Micz Podcast, live every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, only on Charm City Direct TV, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Tune in as the crew talk about all the hottest topics. Make sure you tune in live on Facebook at Charm City Direct TV. And also tune in live on the official group page of Barbershop and Micz Podcast at Facebook at facebook.com/Barbershop and Micz Podcast. Make sure you tune in and engage in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. We back and we talking about a couple of topics. And the topic that we was just talking about before the break is Will and Jada, their marriage. Some has known, seen Jada in an entanglement, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Will, they said, people have said, Will stepped out a couple of times in marriage, out of marriage. I don't know. Because my stance, like I said, my stance on these celebrities, they're not paying me to care, and I'm not going to care. Honestly, I may talk about it, but honestly, I don't care. I mean, even when it went down, I was like, okay, that's them, And it don't frustrates me, but I'm just amazed how some people can sit back, grab popcorn, and be like, "Oh my God, did you see what happened? Did you see what happened?"
It's like they eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
It's crazy.
They need that
energy.
Right.
And sometimes they wanted to do just like that, but it don't work in a real marriage. There's no way it's gonna work in real marriage. Only on TV.
And the fact of like me, how people can look at me side-eyed and be like, how can you not care? That's just me. I realized that early on, like, I ain't getting a check. I'm not getting a check from nobody, Once they give me a check and say, hey, E, look, I need you, I'm gonna pay you to care. Or I'm gonna care. Or every single, it depends on the amount of money though, but I'm gonna care.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not getting no money from it. So
it's not important. I mean, like for me personally, I don't really look at celebrity. There are certain celebrity that I really love.
Right.
But not because I love them mean that they're gonna be my role model,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not in that. Nah. Hello? Nah.
No paparazzi for me.
Right.
Very soon you're gonna have a lot of paparazzi. Remember me telling that. Boom.
Yeah, I know, right?
So why are we talking about marriage?
Whoa, this topic.
How
all right?
soon?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. How soon you should date after the loss of your spouse? I lost my mother June the 18th. My father and my mother married for, they would be 50 years this year, the 28th of July. No, 28th of June. And my father is nowhere, even though he's up in age, I'm going like him young, but he's nowhere near of dating anyone or thinking of dating anyone. Some persons, if they are in the entitlement, and their spouse died, and the convenience, maybe they jump in before their spouse died, then started date. When we look at Nene, husband and her was so together for such a long time. And after her, I'm not here to judge anyone, but if it was me, I wouldn't see myself dating 6 months after my husband died if I was in love.
Right there, Jasmine. Right there. That's what I'm saying. It's like Hollywood and reality. So in reality, to me, if God forbid, if my wife should leave, it's gonna be a minute. And just what Shonda Dawn said, when you feel you ready to move on, you see what I'm saying? That's what a lot of people miss that point. It's like when you feel that you are ready in your heart, only you can determine that.
Yeah. And Yvette said, I think you should give yourself time to heal at least a year. And that is true because there are so many, because I mean, like for instance, if you're going to the marriage,
I think like 2 years
dating somebody and you're not healed, you're going to compare the person with your former spouse, and that is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think
Or
a year is good enough. I think, you should give yourself ample time, like 2 years or something like that, 3 years. Maybe it's just me. Maybe a year is just not enough. That's like saying 6 months, or just want to add a year, though. I would say 2 or 3 years.
And I can understand that. Like, for instance, I mean, maybe because of my culture and my belief,
right.
because my grandma husband died, which is my grandfather, and I don't
Mhm.
see even though she's whole, but I don't see she dating. So it depends on the type of relationship that you have, because some people the husband can die. They had to be dating already before their husband passed. Vet said they had to be dating before their husband passed. So if your husband or your wife pass, and you can pick up yourself, if you really love that person, because if you're even in a relationship and the relationship break up, it's very difficult for you to jump on the ass back again. You have to be healed, and that is the issue. That person just walk out of and just go into a relationship with not even thinking. It's okay for what they want to do, but for me personally, I don't want to sound judgmental, but it's not for me. It's not for me.
Right. It's like widows. It's like you can't just jump out there and figure, though, like, for a woman to put on stiletto shoes and a dress and lipstick and want to be like, I want to go back out dating, or for a gentleman to be like, oh, I want to put on a suit and some gated shoes after he done lost his wife. So it's not easy like that, though.
Yeah, Sean Don Brownie said you cannot give a time because loneliness is really a thing. But it's not necessary. I agree and I disagree, because loneliness, you still can in a marriage and you're lonely. You still can in a marriage, you're lonely. If you're in there for a wrong reason, you can still around family and lonely. So I mean, it's about principle. It's about memory.
I
It's
think
about I don't have even word to express, but I
right.
just think it's not protocol for me to just jump after 6 months and a year, as you can well be ill for one day. Depends on the relationship what you have with the person still.
I think it's the individual, because my thing is, for instance, what you just said, Jasmine, as far as Nene Leakes. I'm gonna just use her as an example. And I think Sean or Vet said it, that they must have been dating like prior, before. It all depends on if the person can handle being in another relationship with a person after their significant other pass. That's them.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and
Because
yeah, that is understandable.
if you just jumping into a relationship and then you're with that person, and I'm looking at like grieving. I'm looking at like grieving more than anything. Like,
Yeah,
or
grieving,
like
yeah.
you could be with that person and all of a sudden you just break, and clearly you're not ready at all.
Yeah, that is true.
And
But
then that person is looking at you like, oh my God, God forbid if the person is empathetic or
yeah,
insensitive
that
and
is so
things of that
true.
nature.
Betty saying, after splitting my ex, it took a long time to get myself into the mate a date because my heart was still with him. So the
Right.
point is that your heart was still in. And I heard that Greg, he had cancer for a period of time, so
Right.
maybe. Um, welcome to the show. Laurie is saying, I think it's depend on the relationship and the situation surrounding the death.
Right.
And that is true as well. Maybe you have to look at why person married. If it's the green card, why person married is because they want something from the
Something
individual
out of it.
or status in the community. Why do you marry? Because I am sometimes I wonder if there's real marriage. But then when I look back, Hollywood marriage, you have you have Denzel Washington and his wife. They are together for a long period of time. They are not flushing things in the media. And recently, Pastor Franklin, he divorced or filed for divorce. And I mean, I know see him all over the place with a female. So depends on the person, depends on the person and the state of the person and the culture, maybe.
Yeah, I said the same thing. And I still stick to it to this day. It all depends on the individual. If the
Yeah,
individual
Sean
can
Don Brown
handle,
is saying everyone grief different.
right,
Yes, that's true.
right,
Yeah.
right. So it really depends on the individual. If they can handle being in another relationship, as we can see, we
That's
need
fine.
to.
So I'm gonna throw the question to Bro Mike. But
Yo.
before I throw the question to Bro Mike, before my mom passed, about 3-4 years before my mom passed, my dad and her was having a conversation, and she said to my dad, if I die, I want you to go back and date. But knowing my mother was setting up and see what he would do. So, so Mike, my question to you and Mr. E. Digger.
Right.
If your spouse pass, how soon would you date? Bro Mike.
Okay, well, it really depends on the feelings, on the outright feelings, and not the materials. More than like if it's the feelings, it has to be when I'm ready. I can't just say I'm not going to say one year. I'm not even going to say 2 years. It has to be when I know that I'm ready, because it's about the relation, about the love. You know what I'm saying? You some people are in it for different reasons in marriages than maybe the material. But I would have to say when I'm ready, then if I'm up to it, yeah, everybody, like Sean said, everybody grieves differently. You understand, and stuff, that depending on the circumstances of the marriage.
Yeah.
Me personally, it's going to be a minute. I that's just me. As me and my significant other, me and my wife, we've been together for a minute, like 8 years. God forbid if she would leave today or tomorrow, it's going to be a minute.
I said that this is it, Edigo. It's because you and her is soulmate.
Right.
It's a real marriage.
Right.
So if it's a fake marriage, okay,
right.
Go ahead.
Right.
You understand me? So a real marriage, you don't just get up and start a date.
Right.
Right.
Betty saying the real love, Ediga.
Yeah, that right. And I'm serious. I cannot imagine myself without her, and I cannot even begin to start looking.
Yeah, and that is the part, is mentally, So maybe a body would move on, but mentally,
right,
it's a challenge.
Mentally,
because sometimes I know my dad. Sometimes he called me and last night I was talking to him and I drop asleep because almost 4 hours my dad was talking about my mom when he meet, and over I hear the story, but every time he talk about it, it's fresh.
Right.
Yeah. He was saying, I meet him and she were clean, and I remind him of her, and he was talking almost 4 hours. I fall asleep. I don't remember when I fall asleep. When I wake up, I realize that the phone was still there. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I agree. It's going to be a minute for me. I can't, like I said, I can't speak for everybody.
Yeah. I'm the same way. When the ambiance of love is to eternity, you can't turn that off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even when the person deceases, you can't turn that off like a light switch. I'm sorry.
Right. So
good afternoon, Facebook user. Thank you for coming.
Right.
Richard, big up yourself.
And Richard, we talking about love, man. We ain't talking about the Super Bowl. Honestly, I'm not even watching the Super Bowl. Now, I appreciate you watching, brother, but we talk about love right now. And Jasmine, since you are on earlier, we was talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
Remembering him, the contributions he made to civil rights, just the person who he was. So, in your opinion, and as you can remember, what are your best memories of Dr. King?
All right. Hello, Dina Smith. So basically, I always tell person I'm from Jamaica, and when Jamaica love you, we go all out. We claim Dr. Martin Luther King. We claim him.
Right.
And for us, we have struggled because I know that Jamaica is a third world country. So we have struggled. And for saw a black man who stand up and make a difference in our community, it speaks volume, right? He wasn't a person who he fight for justice and he fight for us, the path for us. You know, some things that people do know as black person, I know he will be turned in the grave because he was a family man.
Right.
He put his family first. Whatever person is going to say negative about him, I don't look at him as a negative person. I look at to me, he's my role model or one of my role model because you see the discipline, and you also see that as a black man, he were educated and he pushed education.
Right.
And he didn't have no disrespect to no one. He didn't have his pants underneath his knees and stuff. He represent black. And up to now, you can look at a Martin Luther statement and say, look here, if he achieved, I can achieve. And my knowledge that he wasn't rich. Right. He passed the odds and become victorious. And for me, he cleared a lot of way for me. And number one, I have a daughter who is 21, and she is one of her biggest role models. She loves him because she there's certain things that she talked to me about him, and I not even know. So even in our young culture, they didn't know him, but they see what he has done and they recognize who he is.
Right.
And I appreciate that.
Right. So
yeah.
I asked Mike like this question, and I'm gonna ask you, Jasmine, if I can. Present day, 2022, if Dr. King was living, what would you think he would be doing?
Basically, if he were living, he will say to us as a nation, when I say nation, the color of our skin, he would try to get a cure for COVID. He would try to, some person who are in prison wrongfully, I see him going and defend them and let them come out, shine a light. He also will encourage those who like person who are involved in gangs and stuff. I believe that he would able to speak to them and tell them that there is hope. I believe that he will have a college for himself, and I believe that he will be on Barbershop and Micz with us today.
Right. Right.
Yes. Absolutely.
I just think that it'll be a lot different in this world now if he was living.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because he was a person that cared, and more importantly, it was nonviolent actions. You know, he didn't believe in violence.
Right.
I'm with you, Jasmine. I think, you know, he's turning in his grave and looking at all of the activities that is going on now. Everything that he fought for has kind of like gone down the drain because we've forgotten.
And that is so true. As Yvette said, we should respect ourselves more. More of us would know our value. We don't understand what he fought for. He fought for us. And one thing, you know, like a lot of person believe that if they are demonstration, they're going to make a demonstration, it have to be violent. He let his demonstration be
peaceful
known.
Marches.
Yeah. You don't have to be violent. And that's what I see now is that it's not positive. We are demonstration are demonstrated. It's not positive. It's more like violence, and it will not record in a negative way. When Dr. Martin, God bless him, happy birthday, when he demonstrate, when he fought for something, it come true. He fought for education.
Yeah.
He fought for freedom.
Civil rights.
He fought for women as well, because he loves women. He loved his color skin, but overall he loved people.
Right. And you know what? Like Jazz said, though, he's turning into his grave because the blood, sweat, and tears that he put out there along with his followers for us is just like a slap in the face or the wasted energy. He did a lot for us and everything like that. And shout out to the NAACP. He had peaceful protests to where today Black Lives Matter. I hate to say it, bring it up, but they know how to get down. You know what I'm saying? Though with their peaceful protests, and then after dark, it turns into like all this nonsense. And that's not the way how Martin Luther King would have liked it. Right. If he was alive today, he would have been very disappointed. Can you imagine seeing an older man?
I understand. Yes. I totally agree with you. But for me personally, I believe that every life matter. Like example, my sister married to not African. So I have two nephews who is between black and white. Call it like that. Yeah. So I'm not. Some persons say that they are defending black person, but they don't really defend black person. They only do it because it's an in crowd. But Martin Luther King do it because he know and he want to leave a legacy.
Right.
Go ahead.
In honor of Dr. King, I'm gonna play the famous "I Have a Dream" speech.
Okay.
And for those who are watching, of course, you have heard this speech time and time again, but today is a day of remembrance. So in honor of Dr. King, we're going to play this speech.
This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
That right there, ladies and gentlemen, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. People, as we go throughout the day, I encourage all of you to sit down with your young ones, your children, who have no knowledge of Dr. King, and turn off the TV for a minute. Grab books, sit down with your children and educate them on the love, the sacrifice of Dr. Martin Luther King. Let us now take this moment of silence for Dr. King. Amen.
Amen.
Wow.
See, he dressed well, he speak intelligent, he defend not only his friend, but for us to come together as one.
Right.
And this is volume. This is something that we should not take it for granted. This is something that we must not, racism, man, even though my daughter said black person cannot be racist, they can be prejudiced. But it's time for us to understand what our four parents, Martin Luther King, we are celebrating him today, and the others who have fought, for us to have a say, for us to be equal.
Right.
And when we operate in a way we are going backward, not forward.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I want to say a rest in peace to Miss Coretta Scott King, who
Yeah.
was with him all the way.
Yep.
You know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't complain not one time.
Mm-mm.
Right.
And that's something, we as Black people right now, these are examples of strong Black men, strong Black women sticking behind strong Black men, because Coretta saw something in Dr. King. Although we saw it on TV, but she was with him doing all of this, and never did she say, "I'm getting tired of this. I
I
can't
want to
live
go to
like
do my
this.
nail.
I need a day off. I need my nails done. I don't like these dresses that we wear."
Mm.
Never did we, as looking inside, never did she complain. Never did she put up a fuss. I know there was some disagreements in that household,
Yeah, of
but
course.
they wasn't as dramatic as they would have been today. Positive, strong Black man standing up, blood, sweat, and tears, like Mike said, for civil rights, for us. And the nerve that we have to walk around and not acknowledging that. And it just seemed like all the principles, all the things, all the marches, all the speeches just gone down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And that you call a boss lady, that you call, because Dr. King could never reach so far if he didn't have a pushing wife. When that's a pushing wife, that push him forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are I can just imagine that there are times that things were difficult and he asked for advice and
Right.
she hold her man hand and push him forward.
Mm-hmm.
An idea for us in this culture to do the same for our brother,
Right.
our nephew, our father,
Right.
our uncles, our grandfathers, in-laws. We will reach somewhere and we will remember him even more.
Hey, everybody. This has been Barbershop and Mike's. For myself, the man you all know and love, E. Digger, my man, bro, Mike, and the beautiful, the talented Jasmine. We want to say, first and foremost, thank you for watching. Continue to watch by going to YouTube at Charm City Direct TV, Barbershop and Mike's Podcast. You can't miss them because they all in the playlist. Because if you watch one, you got to watch them all. Also, check us out on Facebook at Charm City Direct TV and the official group page of Barbershop and Mike's Podcast on Facebook at Barbershop and Mike's Podcast. Also on Twitch and Twitter. Don't forget to watch the replays of Barbershop and Mike's Podcast, and make sure you tune in next week for another great show. Holla at you when we smile at you. Peace.